do we get started with developing our own green team, or any business developing their own green team?
Yeah, so first of all, look at most people, depending on the size of the business, if you're a smallish business, you'll sort of just have a conversation and say, would anyone like to be in the green team? And then from that list of, we've said who should be in the green team, I think it's important that you approach C-suite and say, look, we don't expect you to come to all of the meetings, but we need you to be CC'd on the emails. We need you to understand what's important to the staff. We need to see that you care about this. So we'd like you to show up to monthly ones, perhaps. I think that's important. So some of it is a voluntary, we're doing this, do you want to be part of this team? And some of it is, this is only going to work if marketing's involved, if C-suite are involved, if the FD is involved, the people that we know will ultimately make the decisions from the green team, or from the case of marketing, that will understand market research and know where their stakeholders are going, or HR, because they know that inclusion is so important and they want to really understand what their stakeholders are feeling about these issues so that they can make sure that they're servicing that properly. So that's a really important part of it, is to make sure that you are open to having as many people in the team as want to be within reason, and that you are making sure that it's not just junior members of the team that are doing it. You need to make sure that there's going to be some accountability and feedback loop, really. And then how do you start? The first thing, once you've acquired those people, I would say, is to ask, what's your end goal? And by that, I don't mean, do you want to have a sustainability plan? That might be something that is an objective, but really for the people that have chosen to meet, has it been management that have said, we want to understand more about our stakeholders' thoughts on climate change and would love you to set up a green team? Or have stakeholders within an organisation come together and said, we want a green team because we don't think you're understanding what we're hearing every day from our customers or our suppliers, and so we think this is really important. So why have you set the green team up? What's the driver for that been? And if it's, for instance, management have asked that a green team be set up, then maybe it's to embed sustainability going forward. If it's frontline saying, look, you need to understand that we're being asked about this a lot, we'd like to set up a green team so that we can collect information and learn. It might be that you want to ultimately make a case to C-suite that they need to get ahead of this and invest in this a bit better. So what's the end goal for this green team right now? It doesn't mean it can't evolve over time. And then how do you set it up? Well, I would say frequency is really important, how often you're meeting. So very often, because it's an education process, meeting more often will afford a greater incline of learning. So if you meet 30 minutes a week, 60 minutes a week, that will be more beneficial than 2 hours once a month, once you've forgotten everything from the previous meeting and you're kind of going over old ground again. What you want is to create some momentum with it, and really so that it's having that sort of water cooler conversation as well, so that people really feel engaged and motivated by it, and not that it's constantly this steep incline and then drop off. You want there to be some consistency. So doing that is really beneficial. Meeting more frequently for less amount of time, you'll gain more traction. Make it fun. And I really would urge management to support any of these initiatives, because they will be hugely valuable to where the future of the organisation goes. So if there's a way of supporting that, somehow incentivizing that with the team, I would definitely do that. It's voluntary generally, but it is massively valuable. Normalise that inclusivity. So we spoke earlier about who would be in the team. Really, when you're there, everybody you need to break down those hierarchical barriers, really, because what you want is the younger members of the team not to feel that they can't speak out on things that are really important to them. You'll gain a lot more insight in that will be hugely valuable for the next 10 years steering of the business if you allow the younger members of the team to feel open enough to speak clearly about their fears of climate, their hopes, their expectation of the firm. And yeah, and really I would say with that, it's not only them, the youth or different members of the team speaking from a perspective of expectation, they may also have the solutions. One of the things we know with sustainability is the same thinking that got us here is not going to get us out of it. So listening to Indigenous voices, for instance, when we're talking about biodiversity, is far more valuable than was ever credited previously, and listening to your team will afford you a greater insight, which can only be valuable.